I'm Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Well, as fall gets closer, a lot of people are looking forward for opportunities to get outdoors and enjoy many community activities. And one of those today we're focusing on is the annual Prairie Days celebration at George Washington Carver National Monument. And joining me today, three representatives of the monument who are very involved year-round, but especially with this program. And I'd like to introduce Ashley, who is one of the volunteers at the park, and Diane, one of the rangers, and another volunteer, Gayle. And thank you very much, all three of you, for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
And this is something that you have had for a number of years, Prairie Day, people who've lived in the region for a while, but we're going to talk today, give some background. Maybe some people aren't quite so familiar. And Diane, maybe start off with a little bit of, someone asks you, what is Prairie Day? How in a nutshell you answer that, just, well, what is this?
Sure. Prairie Day is an annual special event that the park holds to celebrate or to remember the cultural environment, the surroundings of George Washington Carver's childhood home while he was there. So we're talking about the late 19th century. So what we have are a variety of storytellers and musicians, exhibitors, some living history, and exhibits that talk about life in those times, and not only that, but also the natural environment of Carver's childhood. So you're going to get a variety.
Kind of step back in time for that day.
Absolutely, yeah.
And Gayle, I know you've been involved. How many years has the park been doing?
Probably about 12 years, something like that.
Yeah. And having this program, and you're focusing on the childhood environment, so tying into George Washington Carver National Monument, people may not realize, some of the new viewers, that his childhood spent in this region. The importance of, that was the start of his
Exactly.
life.
George Washington Carver was born into slavery on the farm that is now a national park. So his mother was actually owned by Moses Carver, so it's a very difficult and tough story for the start of his life. In fact, during his earliest year, perhaps the first year of life, he and his mother were abducted by outlaws, which were very common in this area during the Civil War era. And George was told that he was born near the end of the Civil War, so it was a very tumultuous time here in southwestern Missouri. And so he and his mother were abducted by outlaws and were separated somewhere along the line. And so George ended up being returned to the Carver farm without his mother. Never knowing his father means he was now an orphan, but an infant or a baby, perhaps. And then, slavery was ongoing at that time. He was a very ill child, very ill. So the start of his life was difficult. And then when the war ended and freedom came, he was still very, very young, along with his brother, and they were raised then on the Carver farm by Moses and Susan. So that's a very quick look at the first year or so of his life. Yeah.
So that area near Diamond, that's where he explored the woods, grew up as a child.
It's the very same land that he walked on. And then as a child, he was growing up and being raised by Moses and Susan Carver, who weren't adoptive parents or foster parents, but they took care of the boys until they grew up. And somewhere around the age of maybe 12 to 14 years, George moved away from home in order to go to school because the local schools were closed to him due to segregation. And so that is really what got him moving on down the road. And he continued to move until he finished his education, earning a master's degree, in fact, in Iowa, at Iowa State.
Right. And then on to his very successful career as a scientist that we find. So the monument itself, you commemorate his growing up, but also look at his career as well.
His
some of the
entire
contributions.
life story. We tell that through our programs, our guided tours, through our exhibits, and our special events such as this.
So year-round you have these types of events.
And we feel that by being on that farm, to have a chance to walk where he walked, we can feel the influence of nature that he really felt. He just loved being outside and being part of nature and doing things that would help himself and help others. And that's the influence that we feel that farm offered him.
And you have, I know, a statue as you take the walking trail of him as a child. Just kind of looks like he's looking off in the distance, thinking about what he's seeing.
It is so George.
So the influence that this region or this part of the country had on his future endeavors.
That's how we feel.
He certainly had a character that allowed him to overcome many of the roadblocks in life, many of the tough things. He had it within himself to carry on and earn his education despite how difficult it was. And so that's something that we can use. He is someone who we can use as a role model for that reason. And another statue that we have at the end of our walking trail is really a bust, and it includes a recording of George reading a poem that was a favorite of his, and it speaks very much to that character of picking yourself up no matter how difficult things are and carrying on and living a successful life. And so when the national park was established in 1943, that was part of the reason. He was inspirational. It was during World War II, and it also became our first national park to honor African American history as its primary theme. So it was a groundbreaking park in 1943, and it is today.
Continues to have a lot of programs. Well, of course, today we're talking about Prairie Day, and you're all involved in that. But let's start off with the who, what, where, when type of information. That'll lead us into more in-depth discussion.
All right. Well, the date of Prairie Day is Saturday, September 13th. And I hope I said that right. I have to look at my notes. Saturday, September 13th. It is a free event. We invite everyone to come out from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And so, Ashley, would you like to talk a little bit about some of your favorite memories of Prairie Day?
I would love to. Prairie Day has really become my favorite event at George Washington Carver National Monument, and I just really enjoy stepping back in time and experiencing, the 1860s, a time where I wasn't even close to being born around, but I love really getting to interact with people of all ages. It's fun for everybody, and I do a lot of the old-fashioned laundry and candle making, and just seeing the eyes light up of little kids to see how things worked back then and how we have machines today but they didn't back then, and demonstrating how things were during Carver's time, and how he made his paints to draw, and where he drew his inspiration from, and that's nature, and that's what's all around the park that we have the honor to work at. And like Gayle said, to walk where he walked and to really just step back in time and demonstrate that to people and show the life of Carver is such an honor, and I definitely encourage people to come out for Prairie Day because it is really one of the best events we have each year, and it's a blast for everyone, no matter what the age, or they'll always learn something new no matter what.
Each year, if they've been there before, they can learn something new this year.
Exactly. It's a blast.
Now, Ashley, you're one of the young volunteers. Did you come as a youngster? How people are wondering how someone young get involved?
I did actually. My dad and I approached Diane, and she just let me start volunteering at a very young age, and I'm very thankful for that because it has been an amazing journey to volunteer. I started when I was 12 years old, I believe, in 2006, and so I've been there for quite a while, and it never gets old volunteering, and it really. George Washington Carver was such a selfless man, and he always, persevering through school despite being African American and not being allowed into schools that were maybe closer. He had to walk, and he had to go through a lot to get to school, and we don't have to deal with that today. But he persevered just to help other people. That was his entire life, was learning, all these different sciences and all these things about nature, and he wanted to pursue that just to help other people. And that's really encouraging to me as a youth volunteer to, represent someone like him and try to live like him. And that's why I volunteer, and I've really come to enjoy it. It's just to help other people and to represent someone and keep his legacy going as far as that goes in helping others.
Do you find that a lot of people may not realize the impact that he had on not only the scientific field, but even society?
Very much, very much. And as she mentioned, this selflessness, that he always was there for someone else. And you feel that there. There is something about the place. Mentioning Prairie Day always brings up my favorite thing are our wagon rides. Right. And they are a true incredible gift, and we get to ride through the prairie with a team of horses, and sometimes we've had a team of mules, and then we have our wonderful drivers who know the history of all their animals, and so we get that part of the history too. But we always tell the story, and we call it the story, the legacy, the inspiration that George offered so many people, and we'll tell the Carver story as we ride through the prairie and kind of feel like we are back in history. And we wear costumes, and we wear our prairie dresses, and have a chance to be part of something, and everyone loves it. I mean, as we've mentioned over and over, we have the little ones still on a lap, and we have the older people, some of which need a little help, and you might mention something very special
in a
this
wheelchair,
year.
unable to walk.
Yes.
The wagon rides are very popular, as Gayle says. However, they have been difficult to get on, for some people. So we approached one of our regular drivers, and he was very excited to help create a wheelchair accessible wagon. So now we have one that actually has a lift and a gate, and room on the wagon for 4 chairs.
Great.
If need be, or a single chair and many other seating areas for other riders. So it's now an accessible wagon, and we're very excited to have that here this year. So we just want to encourage everyone to come out to Prairie Day, and if you want to ride a wagon, the only thing that would stop you is if the line's too long. And the lines are long, but they're very popular. And like Gayle said, we put a storyteller on board. So not only do you have your driver and the experience of riding through the trail or through the prairie, but you also get a storyteller who's talking about the Carver story, a little bit of the natural history out there on the prairie as well.
So kind of step back in time while you're riding that
It
wagon.
really feels like you're back in time. It's so much fun.
And your facilities really are accessible, friendly. I mean, your walking trail, people, you know, nice hard surface for people who might have difficulty walking, or facilities.
Much of the trail is hard. Some of it's pea gravel. So, but it is accessible. And on Prairie Day, you're going to find many things to do throughout the day. I mean, throughout the park. We have a large tent that's our music tent, and we'll have storytellers and musicians under the tent this year from 10 to 3.
So all day throughout the program?
All day. So you can catch them and move on, go to the next event if you wish. We have a quilting tent where we'll be doing a quilting bee. And there's tacked quilts as well, and a quilt show under that same tent. We also have lots of exhibitors across the lawn talking about things like food preservation, just like Carver did. He was very keen on teaching people how to preserve and can their foods to maintain good nutrition throughout the winter, especially. He also, you'll also find fire ecology, how fire plays a role on the prairie, so the natural surroundings of the prairie. We also have birding and lots of other things.
So a wide variety of interests. Well, I know we have some pictures that we can kind of talk while we kind of describe some of the things that people. Kind of, this is from last year's celebration, but you'll see a lot of similar things as well.
Yes, this is our banjo builder. We have 3 men who set up an exhibit and teach us how the history of the banjo. And then, of course, we'll be building a banjo and have one playing there at that exhibit. So that is the banjo station you are looking at. Down the trail at the pond, we have our basket weaving station, and visitors are invited to have a hand. All of our stations are interactive.
So you can try that.
You can give it a try, or at least the volunteer will speak with you and tell you how to do it. This is the Carver House front lawn, further on down the trail, and this is our blacksmith. He's teaching us about blacksmithing, of course, and his wife is also bringing a rope making machine, so people can make a section of rope and take it with them. Here we've got, you can see the crowd.
Eager youngsters ready to help.
I said it was interactive. It really is. This is the butter churning station, right? And in the background you can see more of the Carver lawn where we're actually making lye soap. And so you can see the kids. Now, we don't get to eat the butter.
But you get to see how it's done.
We get to see how it's done. Here is the candle dipping, and as you can see, it's all ages. And we have so many wonderful volunteers who are helping this happen. I imagine we'll have somewhere in the neighborhood of 130 volunteers making Prairie Day happen. So it really is a volunteer-led event. Our Dutch oven cooking station here is very hard to be around because it smells so good. And so we've got those young men there who are taking care of the Dutch oven cooking for us at the Carver House. We have a gardening station and a corn shelling station. This is back on the front lawn, and we were talking, this is from the Oklahoma Historical Museum, and there we were talking about a famous African-American soldier named Allen Allensworth. And so our volunteer there is portraying him and talking to the kids.
You have a lot of outside organizations who will come in and support you with their booths and their displays.
For instance, there's the Neosho Fish Hatchery. So the Fish and Wildlife Service is there, and they've got an exhibit on water quality and what they do there at their facility. Lots of area and regional organizations are represented. Here we have the historic gardening back down at the Carver House, and we're talking about the wonderful gardens which are difficult to see in the background, but we're growing heirloom varieties using organic gardening methods, talking about food preservation.
Musical entertainment.
Lots and lots of musical entertainment. Hawthorne, as you see there. We also have Judy Domini Bowen this year, Rippling Creek, and that you're looking at is the Holmes Brigade Minstrels, and those 3 men play Civil War era instruments and tunes, and they'll be set up at the Carver House for 2 hours from 1 to 3 p.m., so don't miss them. Oh, there's Judy. Judy Domini Bowen, she is hilarious. She does humorous Ozark Stories and Song.
So this is the music tent. People can
That's
pull up a
the
chair
music
and
tent.
enjoy
Oh,
the
yeah.
music in the tent.
Bring your soda pop and sit down and relax. And there you'll see Ashley and 2 of our junior ranger volunteers, and they're manning the laundry station, which is tough work.
It's fun.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it.
that's down at the Carver house. And there we have Loretta Washington, and she is a master storyteller and a member of the Ozark Folklore Society, and she'll be doing storytelling at noon and 2 inside the visitor center. And she'll also be doing a toy workshop, so everyone goes away with a
An
handmade
era
toy.
Okay.
The Master Gardeners will be represented again with their wonderful, wonderful station called Edible and Medicinal Plants, focusing on plants that are obviously native here. And so that's a scene of the Carver house. Oh, and these are new this year. These guys are brand new for us this year, and that's Mike and Nancy Walker-Mycomb. And they like to do Ozark Stories and Song. In fact, you may have seen them when they performed at Silver Dollar City. But they're local from the Taney County area, so we're excited to have them this year. Our Missouri Master Naturalists set up fabulous exhibits along the pond, down the trail. We're going to be talking about monarch migration this year, as well as plants and animals that are native to the prairie, so the bison and others. Natural dyes are a lot of fun. The kids get to take flowers and other things, berries, and make paints. And these are things that George Washington Carver would have also done as a child. And so that's a group of children. As you can see, we have adult and children activities.
Right.
This is a group that's new this year, the Peich family fiddlers, and these are all siblings, and they're all accomplished fiddlers. And so we are very anxious. In fact, they're park neighbors. And kids can earn a very special Junior Ranger badge.
Specifically for Prairie Day.
Specifically for Prairie Day. And there it is.
So they can have a set procedure to follow, things to find, things to do.
They pick up their book and their pencil and off they go.
They have a blast too.
Yeah. Prairie State Park is represented there in that photo. So we're excited to have all of our area park partners coming in to help out with the day. And the quilting
mentioned,
tent.
right.
Oh,
That's such a
how
good one.
beautiful it is.
And
And the
they're
ladies,
so nice.
they have so much fun, don't they?
really
They
do.
love it, and they set up a beautiful exhibit, and they talk to our visitors about
People have questions, how are you doing it? And just explaining what they're
And there's
doing.
Rippling Creek. They've been coming to Prairie Day as long as I can remember, and they will actually do traditional acoustic bluegrass.
Wow.
So they will be on at 10 o'clock. Cheryl is hiding there under her bonnet, but that is our lye soap making station, and she will actually make lye soap during Prairie Day.
And we
then
use it all
she'll
year.
pour it in a vat, into a mold, and we get to keep a portion of it. Sitting on the Carver House porch there, we've got spinners and weavers, and we have an arm knitting pedal machine and lots of other textile work going on during Carver Day, or Prairie Day, excuse me.
Yay.
And there it is. That's our brand new wagon. It is wheelchair accessible, and so there's a picture for you. And then we'll have other wagons as well.
And there will be a specific location to load onto the
Yes.
wagon that they will have, you'll be able to find that easily.
There's
right?
a registration table. Let's see, we've got wood carving and all sorts of
And
other
volunteers.
So, as you say,
lots of volunteers.
So a lot of things are ongoing throughout the day, and then you have certain things like certain music presentations at other times. Right?
Correct, right.
And you have a schedule. When you come in, you'll know where everything is, and that it's handed to us when we come in.
Okay.
And what is interesting about these pictures is that rarely do we get to see all of this, because
You're busy
those of us
working,
who
right?
volunteer, we get to do our job. And
yeah.
but coming and seeing all the pictures are very special.
I have to see.
You mentioned the registration for the wagon. We have 2 wonderful volunteers who have totally organized this. It's kind of like going to the Arch now. You have your time that you are going to be able to do your wagon ride. And these girls have been incredible. They have made this so user-friendly now.
Cut down on the long
So
lines.
when
let
you
people
come, you sign up. If you happen to be right there when a wagon is there, you get to go right then. If you do not, you know that 3:05, you will be going on the wagon. And it has made it so much easier for everybody. And as she said, we may still have a few disappointments, but for the most part, everyone gets a chance.
to do it.
Really do.
And if people, they're watching the program, obviously, if they have questions, you have a website and a Facebook site as well. They want to look at, you mentioned a music group, they want to see that group. You have
Right.
that type of information posted.
Right. Yes, we have a Facebook page, and if you'll look under George Washington Carver National Monument, you'll find it. We also have our website, which is nps.gov, and then you do /GWCA.
Right,
and
which I think they're showing on the screen
Oh,
for us,
good.
a little bit of your website.
There you go. And our phone number is 417-325-4151. So you can call us, and if we're, the park is open every day, 7 days a week from 9 to 5. But if we're not there, leave a message and I'll get, one of us will get right back with you. But I want to emphasize that Prairie Day is free of charge. It is held in conjunction with the City of Diamond's Gem City Days, and this is a kind of a partnership we've been doing for many years. And so we want to encourage people when they're done at Prairie Day to head on into Diamond and enjoy their event, which goes all weekend long. So Gem City Days is held in conjunction
with the Carvers
with Prairie Day
program.
And we also have a concession stand. If people don't want to bring a picnic lunch, plan to buy a hamburger and
They're tasty
something.
too.
And
Did a
the
nice
International
job.
Lions Club will be doing the concession stand for us this year.
So community support sounds like it's a really a big key to your success. You have the
Huge.
ties to the community you've mentioned,
Huge.
the number of volunteers. That it's not something you couldn't just do as a ranger on your own.
Well, maybe she could.
No, absolutely not. In fact, the Volunteers in Parks program at our park is really what allows us to do all these extra special things. We have, for this event alone, between 130 or so to 140 volunteers who will make it work. So obviously, all those people you
lot of
saw,
giving their
almost
time and
all are
volunteering, right.
volunteers. But as Gayle said earlier, it really is a community event. We want everyone to feel welcome, and we also want to encourage. I want to encourage people to sign up to volunteer. So that these guys can have a break and go enjoy the event. You can cover for
So
them.
you're always looking for more volunteers or looking for
Always.
people who can help you out.
Yes. And coming and being an assistant training with either of these ladies will be a great, no pressure way to get into the volunteer program because they'll teach you.
Some people might wonder, well, I don't have any special skill. I mean, you can show them what to do.
Plus, I think if you have a love of something yourself, then you're getting to share that, and you will find a niche. You really will. And just being part of something, and as you said, they never ask us to do things that we're not comfortable doing, and we are trained, and we do work with the rangers hand in hand, and it means an awful lot, and I think people would truly enjoy the opportunity.
I imagine there's still need for work behind the scenes where they don't see the people helping you out, setting things up, cleaning up, doing all those behind the scene jobs as
Right.
well.
Right. It's a big job. It's worth it. We get a lot of visitors who will say, now when is that Prairie Day event? Because they mark their calendars and they come every year. And a lot of people from what we call the four-state area come in for Prairie Day. Last year, I believe we had 1,900 visitors, so it's a big day. And just I want to remind everyone, it's free of charge. We will help you get parked. Once you get there, we'll help you with parking. As Gayle mentioned, we'll have a program at the front gate and give everyone a copy. So you can learn and see
Come
who
and
all's going to be
stay as
there.
long as you need or
Stay
you
all
wish,
day.
and stay all day if you wish to.
Most
enjoy
people
it.
do stay all day.
See all
Most
the
people
events.
do,
And you mentioned, serving the region. This being a national park facility, really unique to this region for us in this corner of the
Yes,
state, in this region.
It's a very valuable, in my opinion, it's a wonderful addition to Southwest Missouri in the four-state region. Lots of people are connected to our national park.
And also the other national parks that are within particular radius of us really pitch in with the other parks, and we're finding that exciting for all of us because when the ranger comes from Neosho with the fish
hatchery, right.
hatchery or Wilson Creek or Fort Scott, you have that feeling of community that they care as well. And it makes us know that their parks are important, and it makes them know that our park is important.
And parks being one of those resources, a lot of people, if you've lived in the community all your life, you know it's there, but you don't realize the impact it has and throughout the community. People getting involved, working with people young as well as older throughout all the ages. Are you looking not only for more volunteers, but maybe to encourage the youth to get more involved in things like this?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Volunteers in Parks program, it has a wide variety, but we want more people to feel welcome. We want to invite more people, and we especially want to encourage our students through Missouri Southern and other colleges and universities. Missouri Southern students are already involved in two major ways at the park. One is our art and essay contest that happens every spring, and that is especially the Department of Teacher Education, and those future teachers get involved. So we usually have in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 volunteer students for that. And we also have National Public Lands Day, which in fact is coming up the last Saturday of this month. And many times some of our science majors will show up and help out with water quality, or they're inventorying
Environmental science type concerns and things like that.
Plants and animals. And so they get involved with that. And then I think I'd like to let Ashley talk a little bit more about youth volunteerism.
Yeah, I really encourage anybody, no matter how old they are, to really start, even if they want to start, at age 10. It's so wonderful, and it's really become very rewarding for me, especially. And, America's national parks belong to us. They belong to everybody. And, it's really great to come to a place like George Washington Carver, where a lot of people may not know the little gem that they have right in their community. And it's something to be proud of. We're very proud of it, and we really want other people to be proud of it. And Prairie Day is a great event for everyone to realize that there's something to be proud of for you here, and for you to come and just show everyone what's going on in, Little Diamond, Missouri. But volunteering at a place like that and kind of teaching everyone what's there and what you have right there at in your heart and where your home is. And it's somewhere great, just anywhere in your community to get involved. And there's so many easy ways to get involved, to contact Diane or anybody really. Show up at the park and say, I'd like to help.
Help out, do
and
something.
no one will turn you down, because
Or email us. That would work
You
too.
have email links
And
through your websites.
You can volunteer one day a year.
It's not like I have to be there a week.
Some of us do. Some of us are there a lot, but some of our volunteers do work every week.
Have a schedule where they're going to be there on the third.
Some of them come once and do a one-day event. Some of them come once on a special event day. We have many different things. Some people come in because they need to do a college orientation class and they just need 4 hours of credit. So we'll work with you and
work
find
with you
a
if you have
place.
an
Yeah,
interest,
absolutely.
right. Well, in addition to Prairie Day, I know you're there year-round. You have a new movie that will showcase his life as well. So, if someone can't make Prairie Day, as you said, you're open 7 days a week. They can come in, anytime to see what you have on display.
We are very excited about our brand new film. It's called Struggle and Triumph, The Legacy of George Washington Carver.
Very well done. It is very well done.
So it really captures his life
It
and the story
really
for people
does.
who don't know that
Right.
much about him and like to
true.
find out more about his life.
Right. It's a 28-minute film. It was filmed with, we have actual audio clips of Mr. Carver speaking at the end of the film. We have an actor who portrays George Washington Carver both as a child and another actor as an adult, of course, and working our way through his life story. Lots of reenactments, and so it's well done. Our older film was also well done, but this one is just so much better, and it's all digital now, so it looks better.
Quality.
The music was done specifically, composed for this film, so much of it is original. And then some of Mr. Carver's favorite music is actually interspersed throughout the film, so it's very good.
So a lot going on.
Lots going on.
Great. Well, I'd like to thank the three of you for visiting with us today, sharing some information with our audience.
Thank you, Judy.
thank
You're welcome. And look forward, we remind people that September 13th is the date, what we've been talking about. And I'd like to thank you for joining us this week for Newsmakers. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope to see you again next week at the same time on this station.